So as you see, we really want to use SWAP to break through the clutter and really start talking about efficiency and showcasing what we need. And the other thing I'll just add is every SWAP we get more and more coverage and more attention. So we're excited about SWAP 4. So look for emails in your inbox. As soon as we announce SWAP 4, which should be soon, you will all be the first to know. So with that, I've asked Brian Cohen to introduce the panelists on today's panel and moderate some fun questions and answers, and then know that we'll have time, hopefully, for a couple questions and answers from you. And with that, I turn it over to Brian.
All right, so it wouldn't be a real reality show without a reunion. So think of it less panel, more reunion. And let's see what we find out. I want to introduce the folks on our reunion show. We have Randy Gaines from Hilton Worldwide. He's the Senior Vice President of Operations and New Project Development. Next to him, Karen Flack, excellent, Professor and Department Chair, Mechanical Engineering Department, U.S. Naval Academy. Next to Karen, we have Austin Blackman, from the City of Boston, Chief of Environment, Energy, and Open Space. And we have Russell Hume from the U.S. Air Force Academy, Energy Program Manager, Mechanical Engineer, and then Maria Vargas. All right, let the questions begin. Randy.
Uh-oh, good afternoon.
Here we go. What was it like to have a camera crew follow you around?
Well, that's a good question, considering that we've got 700 people sitting in one of my buildings now. So we're all on stage right now. So, you know, first, since we were starting out, we got a little bit nervous. We really didn't know what to expect because they said, hey, we're just going to peek under the hood. We're going to bring the cameras in. We didn't realize that, and we're very, very blessed, and we do thank the Department of Energy for putting this together. So a round of applause for DOE for putting this together and their component, because it really did, it was an eye-opener for us. So, you know, we've been in this business a long time. We've walked a lot of buildings, and you know what kind of stays under the hood keeps under the hood. So we were really opening ourselves up. And if you look at this building you're in today, we went into a similar building. It's 1,600,000 square feet. We were really nervous. We were a bit anxious. And you know, you got a couple guys who are from Whole Foods, and I have to thank my friends at Whole Foods. You know, we were like, what can these guys do with the skinny jeans on coming through here? They can't tell us how to operate these hotels. I've been operating hotels when they were this big. So, but you know,
They went deep, bro. They went deep, bro.
They went deep. And, you know, so I think that the cameras, after we broke the ice, I think we learned a lot from each other, for sure.
Okay, Karen.
Yes.
So, Karen, not only did you have to have people follow you around, but the people following you around were your frenemies from another service branch.
Yes.
Lots of competitive talk, lots of ins and outs. So how did it feel to hand over your keys to the other team and give them free reign of the campus?
Well, I'm a bit of a control freak, so I didn't want to hand them over. The first bit of the swap, I tried to manage what they saw. I was trying to, you know, secretly, like, let's not go walk that way. This is a better path for us to walk. And I think it was until I finally just let down my guard and realized that, you know, we were going to get some good information from them and allowed them to kind of see our bad spots. And the one example I'll use is I teach in an engineering building that, you know, really, really is not a great building. And we're trying to get some funding to update that building. And I did not want them to go in that building. I was actually very embarrassed by it. And until I let them go in the building and see the warts and all, you know, we actually were able to use the publicity of that to hopefully get some funding they're planning for it. So that was strategic in the end, but...
So I'll be sending you the video clips.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so I have to ask, Austin, we'll come back to you, I promise. But Russell, since you were on the same swap, so how did you feel about handing over your keys to Karen and her team?
It's always hard when you've tried your best. You've done the best with the resources you have. Everybody knows that, limited resources, to have somebody come in and evaluate and critique what you've done. But I did think it was a good opportunity, though, for us to show some of our successes. We have some good renewable generation on site, but I knew much like Karen, I knew where there were those dead bodies buried and the things that were easy finds where they were going to get to it. So it's a little, it was great, their input. It was a great team. I really appreciated the naval input. But I also, it's just hard when you say, they can just point stuff out and you say, well, yeah, I knew that, but how funding resources or you knew it was going to be there. So it's a little bittersweet, I guess. It's nice and it's bad at the same time.
All right. Austin, what surprised you most about the other cities? What about their facilities? What was similar? What was different?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that first and foremost, what I learned from the swap is, across the panelists here, everybody that participated, we're all energy professionals, right? So to follow up what you were saying, we know what a lot of these issues are, but as you get this opportunity to walk through your own buildings and see somebody taking a look at it for the first time, it's a very stark reminder of still how far you have left to go. And then also the takeaway for us is, okay, well, how can we make sure that we do this when we're not on camera? So how can we actually bring that and have, whether it's a night walk over at the Hilton or just basically following up on that internally to make sure that we continue those best practices, to continue identifying those items to make some smarter investments.
Interesting. Okay, Russell, and actually, I think that this is everyone's going to have to answer this one. What was your aha moment?
At the Naval Academy, it was two. There were two aha moments. First, we showed up, beautiful campus. If you haven't been there, great. Come up, the waterfront introduction. Navy is working on that. And I walk around the corner, and there's a cone there because part of the road had fallen into the bay. And I thought, this is I can find something here. So that was.
You mean that was your aha on them?
Yeah, and exactly. And then when we actually got to Bancroft Hall, though, it was look, they took a building of this size. I think it's 1.4 million square feet. It's enormous, and they had retrofitted the windows on this historic facility, 1800-ish. They had retrofitted it with double pane windows. And if you watch the swap, you can see that's one of our big issues, the Fairchild Hall issue. A 1.2 million square foot facility with single pane windows that is eating our lunch as far as energy goes that way. But to see that, it can be done. State historic preservation, all of these things, it can be done. So.
All right, Austin, what's your aha moment?
I think the aha moment for us was when we were walking through one of the fire halls on the Atlanta airport, and we saw a couple of these plug loads. And that's for us, Atlanta's done amazing things, as has Boston, as have all the panelists who are up here. But the aha for me was that by doing these night walks, by doing these just energy efficiency walks, you can always find these behavioral things that regardless of what your budget is, regardless of how many projects you have in your capital pipeline, you can always make progress on these behavioral things, reducing your plug loads and making sure that the human component adds to your energy efficiency as well.
The human factor is something that we kept talking about on the trip. Okay, let's keep going. What's your aha moment, Karen?
I would say when we were walking on top of the dormitory where they had installed the solar panels, we had talked to the Naval Academy how, there's no way we can ever put solar on the Naval Academy because people will see it and we're historic and you can't have solar panels on these historic buildings. But they had the entire roof covered in solar panels that were flat, low profile, no one saw them. And I think it's the opportunity that you can install solar without having high visibility. And that was a really, really nice example of maybe not the highest efficiency solar, but better than no efficiency solar.
There you go. That's what we like on the panel. Keep it a little zippy. All right, Randy, what was your biggest aha moment?
So I had a lot of aha moments. And, one of the things that it's all about the people. We love our people. We can implement all the greatest technology, and I'll never forget, I was in Whole Foods and we were in a pre-shift, and I was thinking to myself, wow, we all have kind of the same opportunities, trying to get our team members to turn off the water, trying to get and we found a lot of aha moments just in commonality behind the buildings, but what really resonated was the fact that it's training, it's low cost, it's no cost, and it was the aha moment sitting in there and making sure that we're giving back. Our core expertise, and all of us have it. I'm in the hospitality business. My core is heads and beds. I didn't become one of the largest energy guys in North America. It's just happenstance, or fifth largest restaurateur, just because of the business kind of fed along. And Whole Foods is in the food business. They didn't want to get in the energy business. So I think when we were in there and we were looking at those team members, and we just had like a wow. You know, we had a lot of commonalities, first of all. I mean, it's just we all have the same, the daylighting, the compact fluorescent, the energy management, and we picked up a lot of core stuff. But I think the aha moment was when we were looking at their team members and their associates. It just really resonated that, you know, that's who makes it a difference. And so I think we all had a little bit of an aha moment, because that's who makes it happen.
Maria, I can't let it go. You got to tell us what your aha moment was. You can have a couple.
My aha moment. I think my biggest aha moment, I knew that organizations can learn from each other, and I just never realized, as sort of Randy was saying, just how similar some of the issues everybody faces are. And so that was probably my biggest aha moment.
Okay.
You wanted me to say something snarkier. I can't, they're here, no, I can't.
When she started telling us how to fine-tune the chiller and all that, we knew she was getting really good. Airflow analysis.
What was I doing?
You were telling us about the chiller and airflow.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I knew when the Whole Foods and the Hilton teams.
You just wanted to eat there. You like the free food. You'd like to be in Whole Foods after dark. It would have shut down.
I even said it on my comms panel. I'm a big fan of the Whole Foods. Okay, we're going to go down to you, Russell. So overall, we have to ask this question. How was your experience taking part in the Better Buildings Challenge swap?
It was great. I applaud the program. Thank you for inviting us in the Air Force, and it was a good, I think, teaming against the Naval Academy. It worked out great. It made me very aware of the program. You know, to be honest, we get categorized as part of the Department of Defense and then down through the Air Force, and we lose the visibility of some of the other federal government programs and things that could help us. And so it was a fantastic program. It was fantastic for us. We got to see some things. We got to make a lot of awareness out there. It went out to the cadets, it went out to permanent party and faculty, and the awareness is a big component of this. If we did nothing else, I think the awareness alone is worth it. But I think, as Dr. Flack pointed out, some of those things that they found that are easy finds, we can go forward now for maybe some funding to get them fixed.
So this is one for, I guess we're heading in the same direction for everybody. But since it was released, so Austin, have you gone after any of those fixes that your friends from Atlanta suggested? And we should shout out to Atlanta, who is our key players weren't able to be up here on the stage with us.
Let me talk about that first for a little bit. But the short answer is yes. There are definitely items that we want to make sure that we're working on, particularly in some of our buildings that we just had the opportunity to retrofit. But what was really great for me working in the swap was actually developing that relationship with the team in Atlanta. And I have to give a lot of credit to Mayor Reed and also to Mayor Walsh, because it is kind of a political risk to put kind of your dirty laundry out on TV. And I have to say, you know, having developed that relationship with the Atlanta team, and I don't know how many of you watched the Super Bowl, I know I did, and when it was 3-28 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, I was like, I got a couple months to figure out a good reason not to go to the Better Buildings Challenge. So maybe they found some good excuses not to come, because I would have certainly given them a hard time about that. But in all seriousness, though, in addition to what we've been able to do through the swap, we're actually going to set up some time, and we already have, to talk about some of the other areas that I work on. So in addition to being responsible for energy efficiency, I manage our buildings department in the city of Boston, and we had the chance to interact with their buildings manager and the person who handles all of their permitting, and some of the great work that Atlanta's done to make that department more efficient and more customer focused, and we're continuing to learn on that parallel as well. So it's not just on the energy efficiency. The best part for me was really just having the opportunity to interact with another team and collaborate with another city.
Excellent. Okay, we've heard from the panelists. Time is short. Let's take some questions.
Okay.
We're ready, nice and loud.
Who's going to challenge a Marine?
Ooh. No. I love that question.
No one.
Hilton will take them on.
No.
We got a few good ones.
I would not take on the Marine.
It sounds like Hilton
We're ready.
Randy.
We got a few guys in the soldiers out here for you.
I'm not sure if we all figured this out, but Randy's pretty much ready to go mano-a-mano with anyone who wants to go. I think we've kind of ascertained that. All right, can we get another question? Yes.
For Randy Gaines, I'm thinking that the kitchens, there's a bit of a commonality there with, you've got really big kitchens.
Yeah, we do, and that's a very good point. So
Hey,
we
Randy,
gotta repeat the question.
So the question was around kitchens. And, we run commercial operations. Believe it or not, every one of you guys came out of a banquet kitchen, which is an exhibition line downstairs, and there's huge efficiencies. And I think compartmentalizing, we actually learned a lot from Whole Foods, believe it or not, in their efficiency behind running their kitchen and some of the things they're doing. But in the kitchen, it was the matter of the hood. Their hood was running all night. It was a matter of efficient equipment. So there was definitely pieces that we got into. You probably noticed this like with walk-ins. We all had walk-ins. We learned a lot about refrigeration. And what we had to do is we learned they compartmentalized their burn rate inside of their kitchens. So we actually implemented some big changes in what they were doing around understanding refrigerations and CFCs and how they're handling some of these components and cleaning components. Like I said before, our core business is hospitality and heads and beds, but by default, we're in this banquet exhibition kitchen piece. And so that was a fantastic opportunity. And we learned a lot. I mean, and how to prep. I even took some of their food safety standards back and some other pieces because we're just able to get in. And that's, I think I give my hats go off to the Better Buildings Group and the Department of Energy for allowing this to happen, because I think we mentioned it earlier about the cities partnering and learning from each other. We didn't just learn about energy. We learned other pieces of the core business and we took it back. So it was fantastic. It's a good thought.
All right, let's go. Oh boy, now it's a lot. Well, there's someone by the microphone, so go ahead. Go do the microphone.
There you go.
I'm just curious whether you might have got even more radical insights, or what you think would have happened if the military folks went to a city, or if the hoteliers went to the military, or more dramatic swaps. What would have happened then?
Oh, I like it. I
Oh,
like it.
Hilton
We're going to
Hopkins.
get you on the production side next time. Karen, what would you have found in one of Randy's kitchens or in Austin's library?
Nothing, right?
I would have found the same things. I think we would have found that behavior, that how people interact with the technologies really matters, and that you have to, start with people and how they use it, and that heating, ventilating, air conditioning, lighting really are the things that, the bottom line.
All right, we're going to take one more. We might even show you some bloopers here. All right, there. Yes. No, yeah, right there. Perfect.
You both everyone mentioned that you found things that you already knew about that you were hoping to get done. Did anyone share kind of strategies for convincing upper management to do projects that you already wanted to do?
Well, Randy is upper management, so.
We're all upper management. So part of it is that I think that taking a look behind the scenes, and this got a lot of traction from a PR component, lots of tweets, lots of pieces. It just kind of brought to light just some of the common. It's great when you can bring the back of the house to the front of the house. I would love to open up the back of the house so everybody can see it and see what we're faced with. So I think ultimately everything has a financial return. So I think all the things that we all were probably able to learn some of them were even low cost, no cost. Like what happens after between midnight and 6 a.m. in the morning, we learned a lot. So I think there was some low cost, no cost, but to make those investments, I think that we were able to gather information and share best practices. I think we've heard that across the stage, that everyone's been able to share best practices. We've been able to. It sounds like you guys have been able to get some press out of the PR piece, and it brings it to light. And we've been able to get some ROIs based off of some airflow analysis and other things.
I want to toss this one to Austin because I think there's a lot of folks here who work in cities, with cities,
Yeah, absolutely. So a big reason why Atlanta has had so much success is that they implemented energy savings performance contracting. And that's something that the city of Boston is looking to replicate. And so one of the things that we learned from them is, okay, well, what challenges did you have going through the procurement process? Found out that they had all the same challenges, and they shared their strategies. Okay, how do you get through this? How do you make sure that you can sell your CFO on this? How do you take this to your credit rating agencies so that you can expand your bond capacity and be able to do this work? So the short answer is yes, we absolutely had the opportunity to learn from Atlanta on the strategies that they'd implemented, and I think they got the same from us as well.
Awesome. Let's take one more question. Hand up. Oh,
I have a really question. Before I ask who's going to take on the Marines, but I have a harder group for you guys to take on. Who's going to take on the kids in public schools who use $8 billion worth of energy and make them do what you want? It's easy when you have employees and people, but when you have children that do all the things on their own, how do you get them into control?
you know what? I think we're going to ask Russell because they have college students. That's awfully close to children.
Education.
Surprisingly close.
Yeah.
I think that's, children to adults to seniors, whoever, it's all about education. And interestingly enough, we had a group, I went to a school and did a solar demonstration for a group the other day, and they're starting to understand energy and turning things off, and they're starting to understand the implications of not doing such things. They also understand that you can clip your friend with the wire cutters and he bleeds, but that was the first. But it's all about education. My son, the Mayor Price this morning came home, said if you got a middle schooler, they probably came home with it and told you all about these energy things. And sure, my son did. He brought a kit home from the local utility, dropped it off there. He followed that up by going to his room, turning the closet light on, his light on, the hall light on, getting in the shower for 25 minutes and leaving the lights on in there. So it's also great. You learned about it, now let's implement it. And so helping them understand that too, a lot of talk, but let's see some action, but it's all education. I think, again, from your youngest to your oldest.
At least he gets in the shower.
Yes.
All right. We'd like to conclude here with, we're going to do a quick bloopers reel of Air Force versus Navy. I want to thank the panelists. Thank you, Maria.
And there's blooper reels on all of them if they want to see them.
There's blooper reels. Go check us out. All right.